Well, after a frantic evening of action back at Watkins Glen, we stay in America as the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan's Road Course Series returns for rounds 3 and 4 of the season. It's the cancer awareness race at Road Atlanta, one of the most famous tracks in North America. The Porsche Cups come out once again as we go into the second event of the season, and there is a little bit of precipitation in the air. It's myself, Cam Roger, Ewan O'Leary alongside me, and Hugo Louise on the production of this RaceSpotTV broadcast as we bring you through a very interesting race, I think, tonight with the rain that's in the air. It looks like qualifying and the first race are going to have some slippy parts out there on the track. That could shake things up, but here is how we look for the schedule. We have 6 race evenings. We started with Watkins Glen a couple of weeks ago, but now we are here at Road Atlanta. We go to Eracingligan and, of course, the Montreal Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and then we go back to Europe for Red Bull Ring and also Donington Park to round out the calendar as we get towards the end of November. So it's a very short, very fast season. And after the first couple of races, here is how we look. Tobias Olsson, he got 2 race victories back to back, and he now leads by 9 points over Marcus Byfeld, your reigning champion. Henrik Lindhoff, of course, not so far in behind with Finoli, Sundell, and the likes, very close with how the points are. After the first couple of positions, it's basically 1 point per position, so the points should stay pretty close, and hopefully we'll get a championship fight to the end of this season. It's a whole load of fun here as we go racing once more, and the qualifying session will be getting underway with some mixed conditions. I say mixed, it's basically a 100% chance of rain. It just depends how hard it is going to get, and of course, therefore, when you put in your lap time and how dry the circuit is. First couple of laps are coming in. Marcus Byfeld has already set a respectable time up towards the front, but just less than 7 minutes remain in the session. And let's see what this is going to go. So, Ewan, it's going to be an interesting one. We had some crazy action already at Watkins Glen in the dry, but now we come to another frantic circuit, but in the rain.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to make it all the more exciting having that precipitation, or at least the chance of it. It doesn't actually seem to be raining very hard, or at least it's not raining at the moment by the looks of things here. And you can see that by the way that everybody's got out onto the circuit immediately in this qualifying session. It's like one of those real life sessions, I suppose, where the rain comes at some point, or you know it's going to arrive at some point, and everybody fires out onto the circuit immediately, hoping that they get a good lap in before it starts to rain. And if you get that wrong, you could end up at the back of this field, which you absolutely do not want to do, with more than 50 drivers here again tonight.
Oh, Christian over there going way too deep into turn 10A and having to basically abort that one. Trying to do some Formula Drift there through the drifting course, but not quite what we want to see tonight in these Porsche Cups. As we just get the tower sorted out for you, Marcus Byfeld is leading the way by just over 1/10 of a second for Tobias Olsson up towards the front, and Lindelof is in 3rd place. Of course, a couple of those drivers, part of the ice cold team that dominated, really. They had, 5 or 6 drivers up towards the front in both of the races and really coming out for this team's championship as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they can continue that one on, because they definitely had the most cars up towards the top out of any team. But as you say, when you have 50, 60 cars out there on the grid, it's going to be a really tough battle, and just 1/10 of a second really might cost you multiple places with how close it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Oh dear, that rain clearly has been falling at some point. I hadn't spotted it actually initially, but yeah, the rain has clearly fallen before this session, although the wipers aren't going at the moment, suggesting it hasn't rained for now. We just got an updated forecast, by the way, from Linus Broström. Not necessarily the one that was, preview that everybody's seen before they got into the server, but one that he sent just as we were coming live, suggesting that it wasn't actually going to rain during the qualifying session, only the remaining precipitation that's already fallen will be there, but that it might well do for the sprint race coming up in a few moments' time. Based on this weather forecast we've been given, the chance does seem to go up for a shower during the first race. So I wonder whether we'll even see a tyre change from everybody as they start on dries and go on to wets, or whether there'll be some people risking it staying out on dries, or indeed starting on wets. There could be a number of different scenarios.
Absolutely, because there is a 2-race format tonight. We have a 21-minute sprint race and then a 31-minute feature race that also includes the top 10 being reversed. So qualifying, this is for the start of the sprint race. then whatever the result of the sprint race, the top 10 will be reversed. And then that is the grid for the feature race. So 52 minutes of racing action coming your way tonight over the course of the 2 races. We did see, as I mentioned earlier, Tobias Olsson winning both the races last time out, but there is no mandatory pit stop if we go dry. But if the rain comes out, they may have to come in to the pit lane. We'll certainly have to see how that one progresses over the evening. Marcus Byfer here, second place. He had provisional pole a few laps ago, but now Lindelof has got up there, getting into the 1 minute 20s. Can Marcus Byfer respond with that? And yes, he does. And by 34 thousandths of a second, will retake the provisional pole.
Only just, though. It's a very, very small gap, and I would expect Tobias Olsson to have something else to say before the end of the session, by the way, in the 091. He is currently in 5th place, but half a second slower than Byfeld? I don't think so in terms of actual speed here. Samuel Lindelof is the closest at the moment, but they may well all just continue to get faster and faster and faster as this session goes on, because the water will continue to get cleared away. The places where the puddles are really collecting in these, it's almost like the insides of these corners near the curb are sort of acting as sort of cereal bowls almost, and they're collecting the water in these very neat little bowls right on the apex where you want to be. So as they keep running over those, they'll continue to get slightly clearer.
Yeah, it's always an interesting one, and this is actually the thing, there's so many cars out there on the track that they will dry it a little bit quicker. If there's only 20 cars out compared to 60, you can imagine the amount of less spray there is, and therefore the water takes a lot longer for it to go away. So the amount of cars tonight might just act like some hoovers out there on the circuit. We'll have to see as Lindelof is coming up to try and respond. It's basically half a tenth of a second he needs to regain that pole. He does have just about enough time for one final lap if he's able to do so, with the amount of fuel he's got in the car. And as we come up towards the line, it is not going to be this time around, so he's got one more to do so. But look at the gap they've got. They've got 3 tenths to Lindelof in 3rd place, got half a second to Olsen in 5th, but it's so close in behind. We've got Hedlund there jumping up into 4th place.
Yeah, we'll see what this time's going to be from Olsen. That's not going to be any quicker. He's slowing down and he's cooling his tyres down, ready for one final attempt, which, well, no, actually, he pulls off to the side and that'll be that. So last week's 2-time race winner, Tobias Olsson, is going to be starting from the mid part of the top 10, which is not where you want to be off of the start at all. I'll be honest, at the start of this season, I didn't think we'd see anybody do the double on one evening, but then Olsen proved me wrong in one night, so we'll see whether somebody else can do it here tonight as well. Top 10 reversed is actually not very much when you really think about it. Maybe would have liked to see a bit more with a bigger field, but you can see why, because of the IndyCar series we had this time last year, you can see why Linus and everyone wants to shorten it down to 10.
Yeah, I think, I'm trying to remember when it was, which season it was. Maybe it was the last season we did in the Formula 4s. We had like 30 top 30 reversed for the feature race, and it was just absolutely bonkers. So this is a little bit more, favourable of the driver performance, a little bit less randomness coming into that. But we'll certainly have to see how that one goes throughout the season. Finoli goes up into 4th place on his final lap, and Henrik Lindelof improves but stays in 3rd place in the number 8 machine. A lot of drivers going to the pit lane now as Oliver Harkson Vigshu. Can he just about get to the line with a couple of seconds remaining in the session, or is the checker flag just going to come out? And it does look like that is the grid for the cancer awareness race here at Road Atlanta. There's a big thanks to Kenneth Tier, by the way, for sponsoring this race. We'll find his grid position in a moment. Marcus Byfer and Lidlow are on the front row with Lindelof and Finoli, Hedlund and Oliver Wollin rounding out your top 6. A lot of ice cold cars up towards the front here. And here's 2 rows of them. Olsen, Strands, Nordström, and of course Bernsen as well, before Sundström and Baz round out your top 12. Then we have Ekström, Forsland, Skegersons, Strauberg, Norberg, and Vigershu, your top 18. So many ice cold cars there inside the top 15. Must be almost 10 cars. Auto, Sundell, Olsen, Limburg, Holmer, and Helm there. We've got a whole row of Simrace Sweden as well in a line. Carlson, Edmund, Frisk, Crook, Green, and Hana, your top 30. And then it is a long list. Holmbom, Schott, Tony Uvenen, Loden, Vedestad, Gran, all your drivers inside the top 36. These guys now being a couple of seconds off the pace. Kenneth Tier, there he is, P37, our sponsor for today's race. Ericsson, Moten, Johansson, Bjork, and Kinnell inside your top 42. Then we got Klamvik, Olsen, Dahlstrand, Salander, Hellberg, Wallingston there. Salander just struggling a little bit there. Norgren, Loven, Forsberg, Penix, and Lundqvist, Broström there in P54. Before we have Gunnarsson, Giros, Stiller, and Pfeffer. Quite a few drivers not setting laps at the back. Once again, Marcus Stiller, as he does in every race, doing a last to first challenge. And of course, Ewan, just a week ago in the Oval Series, he was able to get on the podium with that. What do you think his chances are this time though in the wet?
Minimal of getting a podium, that's for sure. At 55th in points, by the way, didn't pick up a single picked up 4 points only from doing that at Watkins Glen. I think in the rain going to find that even more difficult. The surprise is Gunnarsson starting all the way back there. I don't think he intended to do that, but didn't get a lap in during the qualifying session and has a lot of work to do.
So it looks like rain might be coming towards the end of this sprint race, but it's pretty dry out there on the track as the 21-minute first sprint race of the evening gets underway. The cancer awareness race here at Road Atlanta for round 3 of the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan's Road Course Series. It's a good start from Marcus Beifeld at the front there as Lindelöf comes in behind, and of course he's got his teammate Fanoli around the outside of Lindhoff for 3rd and 4th place as well. They get in line as we come up the hill in towards the chicane for the first time, asking, well, we've got one of the Weaver cars. That's the 66 car has already gone for a spin and going down to the back.
Yeah, and surprising somewhat that only one car seems to have gone out off to the side of the circuit through turn number 1 and into the gravel trap as they come down the hill for the first time and over the top through turn 5. Very difficult turn 5, where I'm sure we'll see a lot of drama here tonight. Clean start from the guys at the front. Very good job from everybody as these weather conditions relent for the moment. There's a look down the inside from who was that? Contact indeed. The good start ends pretty quickly as Headland is the one. Thomas Headland gets spun off to the side.
So I think one of his teammates was involved in that one, and the 66 is Philip Harner. He was the one who went off coming through turn 2 as well. A lot of the ice cold cars, you'll see them with that light blue livery, all in a bit of a train. Out towards the front though, Lindelöf has got a push, and looks like Fanoli might be trying to get past Beifeld as well. Beifeld in the orange and the pink car, trying to hold on to that second place, which he does so, but Fanoli pushing his teammate Lindelöf to the front. So as he come across the line to end the first lap, is Lindelöf in the 199 leading the way.
Yeah, and that's you commented on it at the grid. The advantage of having so many ice-cold racing drivers at the front of the field is that you can push one into the lead. Beifeld is helpless really there when he's in that situation. He can't do anything as, oh dear, is that Sundström going for a spin down the hill here and off into the access road here. That's the alternate line through the final corner. He's ended up.
Yeah, it's actually Lucas Olsen, the number 099. Oliver Wallen, he's gone back in for repairs as well. He was up there in the top 6 in qualifying, so it's another big name dropping down. Of course, we had Headland already from the top 10 dropping out the way. Fanoli's gone off. Lindhoff and Olsen have got past him. So Fanoli, the 222 machines, had a little bit of mistake, probably going wide on the exit T5, and his teammate Olsen and then Lindhoff for Simray Sweden got past as he goes off again, just trying to get calm and get a bit of a rhythm. But it is a top 5 breakaway as Matt Strand hasn't kept up with them.
No, not for the moment, and that is unlikely to come back as well with the gap that's created. Although, of course, the turn 6 incident from lap 1 probably contributed to such a big gap being created between the two of them. I don't think that's all on pace down there, but it is notable. This is what happened towards turn 1. A stack up on the inside eventually causes somebody to jump out of line, and Philip Hahn ends up being sideswiped into the gravel. That is the 777 going for a spin as well through the turn 6. That's what's created really that front 5 getting away from the rest.
Yes, so that was Headland. We didn't see which one of his many teammates was involved with that. 3 wide into turn 7. That is not going to work, is it? And that's further drivers getting knocked around a little bit. I think that was Holmbaum in the number 10 machine. And then here's the 099. So there's already contact on the inside there. And I'm trying to assume who that is. It might be Vedestad. Was that car on the inside? And then further, obviously, issues here at turn 7 as everyone tries to slow down. That's Holmbaum going really slowly. He makes the tiniest bit of contact, unfortunately. And that is going to be some damage on the rear end of that green machine, which might be Lundqvist. And big spin. Big spin there. That was 099 having further problems. That's what we saw in the live pictures earlier.
Yeah, was bobbling. And another one out to the outside of the circuit, 72. That's Oliver Wallen, wide through turn number 1. See how he ended up there. There's a bit of water on the way in here. There you can see it. Oh, and he's gone straight through it. Straight into a spin and into the wall pretty hard as well.
That was a big hit. That car is going to take a lot of damage. Fortunately, he'll be able to get back out for the second feature race. We're already seeing one sim race speeding cars having a slow run there to the exit of 10B. And unfortunately, his teammate is going to be getting down the inside as we work our way onto the front stretch once more. 16.5 minutes remain in this opening race of the day. We're seeing a few drivers drop down actually. Up and down the order as a few little overtaking maneuvers are being had. Norberg, for instance, has just lost a couple of places. Lindoff has lost a place to Olsen. Oh, that's because Lindoff's gone off. As we come down through the S's out of turn 4, he's going to lose a lot of places here, a lot of places, up into 4th place, and now he's cutting over the grass trying to get back on. Was that contact with Tobias Olsen, or was there further problem? So he's in behind Marcus Beifeld at this time, goes onto the curb. He's all good as it stands. Is there going to be some contact? Yes, a dive up the inside from Tobias Olsen, and your championship leader puts the 8 in the wall.
I mean, Olsen's just served in there, really, and it's a miracle that he hasn't got more damage, actually. Lindoff, I don't actually know if he's got away with it fully, because he is down to 15th now after rejoining, as you say, coming across the grass as Lindelof just defends for the lead again comfortably. That was definitely definitely Olsen's fault. I wonder whether he'll come into any trouble with that a little bit later on with Race Control, because that's one of his closest championship rivals. It will be by the end of the season, and just completely shunted him off the road down the hill there.
I'd love to see it again from Olsen's point of view, just see the dive, because I mean, that run out of 4 into the S's, you're not really braking as such necessarily. You might be lifting off a little bit, just dabbing the brakes in this condition, but I mean, it should be near enough flat out. So to have a dive down the inside there is very, very interesting indeed, to have such a run, to be able to do so. There we go. And I wonder if it was actually... I mean, I'm not saying it was his fault, but I wonder if it was because Lindoff sort of went a bit on the curb, slowed him down, and therefore the momentum opened up. So maybe slightly unlucky from Olsen's side of things as well. But what that has left is a little bit of a 3-car breakaway, and then the 4th of Finoli a second back. But once again, they've really pulled away from 5th place, which is now Bertson, who's now got past his teammate of Strand.
It's another opportunity, though, actually, for overtaking if you really want to down there at the S's, though, looking down the inside like that. So, there's nothing wrong with Olsen trying to do that, as he has a look down the inside at Beifeld here, another one of his close rivals. He doesn't quite stick his nose alongside him there. But if you go a little bit faster through turn 4, sort of use a less tight line, because normally through turn 4 you're keeping it to the left to open up the S's, where you really can't make any passes through there. But if you just straighten yourself up a little bit, you can dive down the inside the first corner before the S's, and that does allow you to make the move. As another look here, Olsen. Oh, on Beifeld, sorry, and Lindelof in front goes off.
Yeah, I wonder if Lindelof also saw that move coming. So Beifeld is going to have to check up here. Is that going to open up the door to Olsen once more? Lindelof's really slow. He's got a slow down penalty. So the top 2 go through. And Lindelof from the lead is going to go to 3rd place. Finoli may get him as well if that slowdown continues as we come up the exit of turn number 5. But now Beifeld hits the front. So it's your top 2 in the championship in reverse order. Beifeld 2nd place in the championship. Olsen leading the way. And they now hit the front.
And don't forget, Beifeld finished 2nd place to Tobias Olsen both times last week as well. So it wasn't only Olsen doing the double, Beifeld finished 2nd twice as well, which I think is quite impressive as well, all in all. But can he hold on for the win this time? You'd have to say that it is important for the championship-wise, because if he lets it get out of hand, then the gap could get very, very big before we even get to the halfway mark, and that could be difficult to bring back again. Here comes Olsen, looking down the inside as Beifeld brings it to the middle of the road briefly, round the outside, and Beifeld will stay in front, only for now.
As he gets the undercut, does Olsen. This will be the inside as we come through turns 11 and 12, and that should be the move done. You can't go side by side through that final kink. That's really going to slow down Beifeld. We come up towards the first corner. We've got 3 Ice Gold Racing cars all going around the outside. Now Marcus Beifeld, so this is Lindelof trying to regain his position there, but now comes Finoli in 4th place, trying to get himself a little bit of a space, but not enough. So they stay in the same order. They now have a bit of lap traffic up ahead as well. That could cause a problem, but Beifeld is doing really good as his 3v1 here up towards the front. And look, there's 4 ice cold drivers in behind as well, so they have 6 inside the top 7.
Yeah, They're everywhere at the moment, and that's going to be the problem for Byfeld, as I've explained earlier on, but it's going to continue to be a problem this season as well, because Byfeld does not have anywhere near the teammate support. He does have Oliver Hikes and Viggy, who I would have thought would be a bit closer towards the front in these first 2 rounds, but so far hasn't really been. And also Mikael Sundström, who maybe you'd less expect to be in the top 5, but even so, he would like their help at the moment, and they're not even in the top 10. Well, Sundström is, but Archibald is not even in the top 10 to support him later. Byfeld is fighting alone at the moment with Lindelof and Finoli, looking like they're going to go either side of him at the moment. There goes Lindelof down the inside. Oh, and side-to-side contact. Byfeld is being knocked from pillar to post here, and Lindelof shoves him off the circuit nearly in an attempt to pass for second.
And this has let Olsen get away over 1.5 seconds in. One lap is a little bit further down. We're seeing Baz, he's gone around, was fighting for places up towards the top 10, but now something has happened there at 10A10B and he's gone around. Let's see a replay coming down in towards the chicane as well, the 17 of Nordstrom. And is that going to be just a nice clean overtake? No, it's not. That's how the 107 has gone down. So that is a Nordstrom making contact there, and unfortunately that was Baz actually. Sorry, different livery there, but that was the same car. Baz is the one who got spun after a little bit of contact with Nordstrom.
And that's always bound to happen down at the chicane. That's where the action always happens here at Road Atlanta. Seems to be that's really the best overtaking place by a mile, even in these cars, which you'd fear slightly for the overtaking around this circuit, but so far in these 10 minutes we've not seen any signs of anybody being able to struggling to overtake, really. And Tobias Olsen made very light work of lots of those up towards the front, and Byfeld has been overtaken fairly regularly as well. He's going the wrong way, but it's all been happening down in towards turn 10, as it is for these guys again, but they're too far apart, I think, this time. Sundström and Vigazoo seem to be quite close to each other, but they're teammates after all, and they're working together probably in 9th and 10th.
Well, as Giros gets the meatball, so there must have been a big bit of contact there somewhere as you get to 10 minutes to go, halfway through this opening race of the evening. As we go on board with Jocke Frisk there, trying to obviously regain something from this race after not being in the position that he necessarily would have wanted right now. But there's so many cars on the grid, if you just miss a tiny bit in qualifying and you're on P30 something, you're still halfway through the grid. But there's so many drivers in front of you, as that is a bit of a difficult one in this championship as Giros drops down. So he joins Olsen, Penix, Bohlin and Headland as the 5 drivers retired from this race so far.
Of course, no fast repairs in this series, which means that any damage that you get is sometimes race ending, actually, in a sense, if you can't actually get back onto the circuit at all. There's Evan Forsand, who I'm hoping has got a fake out in the background, and that is not about to flap about in the background, because that's quite scary. But there you go. Anyway, our IndyCar champion, of course, who won the season that took place, the road season that took place this time last year. Who? Forsand.
It's an owl joke. It's an owl joke. Anyway, we'll move on as it's an owl joke.
I don't get it. You'll have to explain.
Oh, first, let's watch this. First of all, in towards the chicane, though, as there's a huge send up in front of Fortune. So that was Vigazoo trying to make a move. He's got Sundström in there as well. This is not exactly what we would have wanted to see off the, I believe, ex-teammates, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, they are having a bit of a battle there as they try and work their way in towards 10A10B. That was getting a little bit close, and Forsen was able to basically just have a nice view of that, but they keep in check.
It's going to allow Sundström a little bit to get away from Oliver Hikes and Vigazoo, and Nordstrom now loses a place to Sundström, so I think there must have been a slowdown over the top there from Tom Nordstrom. It's not normally a place you actually lose positions on the way through turn 4 and down in towards the S's, so Sundström moves up to 8th place, but this is a group effectively from that position going right the way down to 15th, and a bit further down than that there's a few little groups here and there.
A car flying off there. I think it was Strolberg. Yeah, Strolberg going through. So Sundal and Olsen. Oh, have the big hit check as we work our way through turn 8 onto the back straight. And they're going to side-by-side. Bit of side drafting here. Oval Series action. But we are definitely in the road course series. The Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan down towards the braking zone. And it is going to be last of the late breakers in some tricky, dull conditions out there. And it looks like there's going to be Olsen around the outside. Contact is made. And the Sim Race Unicorn make further contact. Unfortunately, both of them go down to Sundal and Olsen, both dropping down the way.
Oh dear. Well, it was always bound to happen, I suppose. You've got to be aware when you are the car that has been one instigating a spin for somebody in front of you that they are going to still travel in the direction they're pointing, and if they're sort of sideways like that, they are going to slightly roll forward. And if you try and pass them on the left like you're about to see here, then you're going to get clipped. You know, it's difficult to see all that happening in real time, but I mean, just taking the racing line there as if there isn't a car spinning around on the apex, but there you go.
Yes, we don't always see the cleanest of driving. The stewards are very, very busy in this championship sometimes. But when you have so many cars out on the field and so many hotly... hello. The corner goes to the right, but not this time around, unfortunately. And that's Simon Green, who was basically got the car just out of shape and was not able, under the brakes, to get that car to the right-hand side of the track, and he carried on turning left. The car off in the background as well. I wonder if that's Green continuing to drop down. We've had Christopher Crook, who's also dropping down. So some drivers getting into some problems now as the race goes on.
It's always the way, though, isn't it, with these races? They're so chaotic. Nearly 60 drivers. There's another spinner in the background there. Out of turn 7 this time. There's the spin going left when it should have gone right. A strange slide and spin, really, on the way towards the left-hand side, but there you go. Not too much damage done by the looks of things that time.
Now here's Robert Ericsson a couple of corners later, up at turn 5. Misses the apex a little bit, then bumps too much over the curb, spins sideways. Can he get it stopped and saved? Yes, he can. So just some time lost there. Good save, actually, considering that situation. And then a little bit further back, got one of the Sim Race Sweden cars around the outside. That is always a tricky position. That's an Auto in the 87 machine. And a further contact is made. Two drivers into one line. Unfortunately, his Auto was the one who came out. Couldn't quite see the car on the inside there, but a bit of a shame because that was a lovely battle for a couple of corners.
Yeah, absolutely. It's unfortunately been the way some of these battles have ended, though, in this race so far, as the nearly on-pace drivers try to overcome Tom Nordstrom, who's seen the walls close in either side of him. There's Joel Strauberg going for a spin out of turn 7 this time round as well. And the three leaders, by the way, are now all covered by less than a second, Lindelof in front of Byfeld now. But Tobias Olsen not exactly gotten away quite so clearly as maybe we'd thought at the very front.
Oh my word, that was a big snap from the 26 there, and unfortunately was not able to save it. That was Joel Strauberg, who we saw going off about 2 laps ago. Now we come up the car off the track there, that is a lap down. No, don't you worry about that one. So Olsen is Lindelof and Byfeld, as they did a couple of laps ago, and they are going through some lap traffic now. So for instance, this car up ahead of them, the black and red car, that is a lap down, so should be getting out of the way of Tobias Olsen. That is probably the 099 maybe, who's having some problems earlier, or one of his teammates at least. And we have 4 minutes to go now, so we're going to have about 3 laps or so, give or take. And it has remained fairly dry in this race, and the racing has been very good up to the front, but it has quietened down for a couple laps since we've got into this order. We haven't seen Byfeld really re-challenge Lindelof ahead, maybe until now though.
Yeah, maybe. It's very difficult to when the front two in front are always going to give each other the slipstream as teammates. So you can understand why Byfeld has decided to bide his time, because if he'd have fought too hard too early, then Elias Finoli would have been here very quickly, and that could have actually cost Byfeld a podium completely. So I do understand why he's bided his time here, but there's 3 laps to go now as they cross the line this time, and so it's probably worth giving it a go from now.
Absolutely, and of course Byfeld, champion of the series, he knows what he is doing, not just in the the Formula 4 cars that he was very quick with, but also GT3s, and now showing up in the Porsche Cup as well. Doesn't partake in our oval series, but comes out for the road course and is very, very fast indeed, as he's got further drivers going off the track to get out of the way of these drivers as they're having a hot battle for the podium places. Of course, we've got Finoli, Berndsen, Strand, Skaggeston. They haven't really challenged. They've stayed in that same order in behind, but up towards the top 3. This is the battle for the lead now, and this track is so fast. Got to be careful not to make any mistakes. Got to use a lot of the curbs around here. It's very easy to make a mistake, like we've seen from some other drivers. It's a big slipstream train. As we get some lap traffic up ahead, is there going to be anything from Marcus Byfeld? A big send down the inside, but we saw how aggressive on the brake brakes, Lindelof was going to beat. Byfeld gets closer and closer. Is he going to go to the left or the right? It's going to be the right-hand side. Tries to slow down Lindelof and get the run maybe up towards the first corner.
Yeah, you can get that late apex here through that second part, then he'll have a good run, but he's sort of in the way through the final corner, and there's sort of no way to get a slingshot on a slipstream now. As they come through, the right-hander will be on the outside line for turn one as well. This is where the water patch is, although it has been pretty much cleared. Lindelof goes deep in the first part. It's going to be a cutback from Byfeld over the top, which gives him the inside for the important right-hander at the top of the hill, but he backs out of it as Lindelof goes deep. This is a great fight between the two on the penultimate lap.
Yeah, cuts him off nicely and legally, and a bit of a look to the inside, trying to get him offline, trying to slow him down, but Lindelof is defending this perfectly as it stands. A little bit of a missed apex there by Byfeld as well. Not the worst thing in the world going through turn 5, though. The curb on the inside is very big indeed, and you have a lot of runoff to the outside. But now we come through the important turn 6 and 7. This is out onto the back straight. This is the run that you need to get. We've seen him already have a good look. We are coming up to the white flag. So it is going to be just about 2 more attempts that he's going to have down into this corner. He gets the run. Then less slipstream ahead now. Olsen is so far away. Not really much slipstream for Lindelof. So this is going to give Byfeld the opportunity to the right-hand side. The outside it's going to be for 10A. He's got half a car length ahead though. Who's later on the brakes? It looks like it might be Lindelof on that inside line. He's held on to it. And Byfeld still can't get through, but he's going to be slow off B.
Yeah, and he's got to try this again. It's sort of same thing again, really. But don't forget, this is Byfeld's now last time into turn 1. The white flag will be waving here. There you can see it. 1 more lap to go. And so Byfeld's not going to have the chance at turn 1 again. If he thinks this is his best chance, he's got to throw everything at it right now. Oh, as Lindelof misses the apex. Oh, and he goes wide into the curb there. He did that earlier. And Byfeld's now properly alongside. Lindelof can't cut him across this time, although he's going to try over the top. And he cuts the course now, trying to keep this second place.
And he's going to keep his foot in it. Surely there's going to be a slowdown penalty there. There's no chance that he is going to be able to get away with that one, as Olsen has completely gone for the lead. But for second place, Byfeld, he's got the run to the outside line. There surely has to be a slowdown here from the Ice Cold Racing driver, and there is. So Byfeld takes that second place. He had to work hard for it up in turn 2, 3, and into 4. It was Lindelof going off, and now that is going to be game, set, and match surely. But let's see what Byfeld can do. Yeah, he's not even going into the slipstream. Is Lindelof probably still trying to give up that time? Yes, he's really slowing down. So that is second place done. We're actually looking at Finoli maybe to try and get past his teammate for that final place on the podium. But back to the front, going to Tobias Olsen, winning the 3rd race of the season. He was so aggressive in the opening part of this race. He managed to get past Lindelof, managed to get past Byfeld, and he's going to take 3 race victories to open the season. What a start it has been from the Ice Cold Racing driver. In second place, we're looking at Marcus Byfeld to come across the line, and Lindelof will hold on to 3rd place. We go back to Byfeld's teammate of Sundström as he comes across the line, just about to hold on from Nordström, who they had a good battle in the back end of the top 10. And then it will be Alexander Olsen in your 10th place, and he will have the reverse grid pole when we get to the feature race in a few moments' time. Let's look at some of the other battles coming through in towards the final couple of corners. Final opportunity to get these points.
Yeah, Sebastian Erdmann holding on at the moment from Kasper Bjork and Adam Klamik as well, who is in this group. Lindhoff is fighting back alongside Tony Uberlin. So Lindhoff has clearly got bad damage because he actually recovered initially to be just outside the top 10. He's going to finish this race 28th, and with a great deal of anger, maybe anger is the wrong word, but certainly feeling aggrieved with Tobias Olsen, who did shove him off the road down at the S's. And Simon Green seems to have found the wall with Robert Eriksson. It seems to have crashed into the bridge, actually, coming on towards the line here.
Yes, that's a tricky race. We're going to have at least 10 DNFs from this race, so certainly a tough one out there for some of the drivers as the cancer awareness at Road Atlanta, the sprint race, is completed. Tobias Olsen gets the win by 4 seconds from Marcus Byfeld, and Lindelof are your podium. Look at all the Ice Cold Racing drivers up there inside the top 6, 5 inside the top 6. They're nearly on pace as well. They've got 3 up there in the top 8. We have Finoli, Bernsen, Strand following the podium with Vigju, Sundström, Nordström, and of course Olsen. They'll be your top 10 that are reversed. We'll go down the next couple of pages as well. We've got Sundal, Skaggerson, Forster who had an interesting race battle there in P13. Engstrom, Baz, Helm, Strahlberg, Norberg, Lindberg, and Homer, your top 20. And it was Marcus Byfeld getting the fastest lap on number 9, but not enough today for the race victory. However, that will be another point. And yeah, we look through, see some of the standout drivers through these next pages. We've got Lindhoff there in P28, Uven in P29. And then we've also got even more ice cold racing drivers back here. Kenneth Tier, your race sponsor, in P38. Tommy Alto, he had a bit of an incident back there in 34th as well. Simon Green in 40th. He certainly had one or two things to add to his list after today's race as well. And then, of course, actually, I was just thinking, and as you go through these final couple of drivers, look at the amount of drivers at least a lap down. So out of the 60 drivers, we only had 42 on the lead lap. So that just shows you how pretty chaotic these races can be.
Yeah, exactly. It's not too surprising, actually, because this circuit's so short that actually we do see most a lap down, or at least a third of the field one lap down, but no fast repairs in this series, so there's no get-out clause with that. You've just got to do the repairs the old-fashioned way, as it were, and that means we get a lot laps down, but that will mean we've got plenty to look through coming back through the field again in the second race. Personally looking forward to seeing what Lindhoff can do in this second race, because he'll have a new fresh car and he'll be starting from directly in the mid-pack, actually in 28th.
Absolutely. As the drivers dry themselves out a little bit, the sun comes back out here at Road Atlanta, and in a couple of minutes we'll get going with the feature race. And you rejoin us here at Road Atlanta for the Cancer Awareness at Road Atlanta by Kenneth Tier. So big shout out to Kenneth Tier for sponsoring today's race. It's rounds 3 and 4 of the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan's Road Course Series here for season 8. Of course, we are going back to back with the Road Course and the Oval Series. So we will be back with the Oval next week. And don't forget that we alternate every single week. It's going to be very frantic between now and Christmas, basically, where we have all of those weeks back to back. But we are here tonight for Road Atlanta. We just had the sprint race, and now we are going to reverse the top 10 and go for a feature race. 31 minutes of action. The track has dried out. The sun has come out. It's going to be a lot nicer conditions. Not that the weather really, I think, impacted too much into that first race. It was certainly drizzly and wet, but the drivers in general, I don't think would have had any more or any less crashes should it have been sunny. So there we go now. It is going to be 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I say that though, actually, Ewan, quite a few drivers having spins in the warm-up in the background. So maybe I'm wrong and there's still a little bit of dampness out there on the track.
Yeah, I don't think it's dampness anymore. I think the weather has certainly picked up in terms of temperature, though. in between the two sessions. I did quite like in this series that we advance it on a few hours, almost as if we're doing a real life weekend. And we are, as you would, you'd have maybe one race at 11:30, which is when the previous race had just started, and one race at 3 in the afternoon. Seems pretty reasonable. So I quite like that about this series. In the end, we did get away with no rain, but the track temperature was just in the high 60s Fahrenheit-wise. It's rocketed to 110, which is a big difference. So I wonder whether that's going to catch anybody out over the course of half an hour. It shouldn't be a massive problem, but for people who have spins or whatever, that effect of tyres being overheated is going to be exaggerated, definitely.
Certainly, although having cold tyres also doesn't help the situation. So two extremes we're getting here tonight at Road Atlanta. But going back to that first race, Ewan, we saw a big battle between Byfeld and Olsen. Olsen coming out on top. Is that going to be a big marker for this season? That means he's now won 3 in a row to start the season. Can Byfeld do anything to challenge the aggression of Olsen that we've seen so far?
Yeah, I do wonder whether it's a pattern we're starting to see emerge now in terms of this season. It's very interesting that has happened on a couple of, 3 occasions so far where Olsen has won and Byfeld has been beaten effectively into second place each time. The thing that I keep coming back to that Byfeld is just going to find very difficult to fight uphill against is the team situation. Byfeld's teammates are not as strong as Olsen's teammates at the moment, and they're certainly not as numerous. Oliver Hagström, Viggersjö and Mikael Sundström did get into the top 10 in that last race, though, and that means they will start in front of both Byfeld and Olsen in this second race. That could help, but Olsen's been pretty difficult to keep behind so far this season, so it might not really matter.
Yeah, because that's the thing that really struck me from the first race is how Olsen was just so offensive, trying to get through, really made some big moves. He may have a penalty coming his way, though, actually, for moving Lindorf out of the way through the S's, to be fair. But that's what got him up there. And then he had a strong move on Byfeld as well. So Byfeld needs to get his elbows out here if he wants to do something in this race. But as we say, we've reversed the top 10, and here is how we stand. Olsen on the pole with Nordstrom right next to him. Sundström and Viggersjö on that second row with Strand and Berntsen in your third row. Then Finoli, Lindlow, Byfeld and Olsen, they're your top 10 that are reversed. And then the drivers in behind will let them scroll through, as this is all the same as the finishing order of the previous race. Still plenty of opportunities for these drivers, because we have the same points system for both races. So even though this race is a bit longer, it's got the reverse grid, it's the same points. So therefore, you're fighting for everything. So if you're one of those drivers who starts a little bit further back, you can work your way further up in race 1, and then work your way further again in race 2, and hopefully get some big points by the end of the day. At least that's in theory. Some of these drivers were having quite a few issues in that first race. Feature race, 31 minutes on the clock. The sun goes out, and when the lights go out, we'll be up to round 4 of the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan's Road Course Series. It's the cancer awareness race at Road Atlanta, and Olsen gets us underway for Sim Race Sweden on that front row, with Nordstrom following him in behind in the number 17 machine. As the top 10 have been reversed, let's see how the championship leaders basically can come through the field. There's already contact. Jocke Frisk goes around. Somehow all the drivers avoiding him, sliding through the middle there as a 25 Wevo Racing Division driver goes around, but didn't collect anyone.
Yeah, well, a miracle really that they all avoided, as you say, but through the S's for the first time, this sort of lower part of the top 10 where all the top guys are has been very congested, and Byfeld again the one shuffled back. Olsen for the second week in a row having a very good start. Adam Klamvik the latest to have trouble. He started just outside the top 20 and now returns back to pit lane with a meatball flag.
Certainly does. Big sends up the inside into turn 7, trying to make something work on Nick Helmer and his teammate for Hell Racers there, as they, I think that's a Baz maybe, as they try to basically find a bit of space on the track. It is quite a narrow old school track, of course, so it doesn't make it easy at all. As we see Byfeld trying to get a move, I think it's on Finoli down in towards the chicane as he's trying to make a move stick. It's actually Berntsen and Viggersjö, I should say, they're the ones going side by side. In the background, someone's going through the track, as it's one of the ice cars. It's Finoli. He's the one who went off at turn 10B, and now he's going to have to sort of file in. He's already lost 4 places.
Yeah. Oh, and there's Thomas Kinnell in number 14 who goes for a spin as well. It's the final chicane where there's a lot of smoke and a few more spinners further back. Oh, and another one over the top of the hill. That's going to be very dangerous actually because it's blind over there. And thankfully everybody's going to avoid pretty much another one. It never ends at the moment. Joel Strauberg, the latest, over the top of the hill.
It's a shame the 26 was so strong in the GT3s, but tonight, as we come to the Porsche Cups this season and tonight in general, well, someone off in the background through the S's, there was a car definitely going backwards. There's Casper Bjork who's going down the field. It must be him, as he had a little bit of a moment. Here's Lindelof trying to get past Vigaju. So Byfeld's already got past his teammate. Now Lindelof, who of course finished ahead of Byfeld in the previous race, but now unfortunately is not able to do so. There's a big gap up ahead as well as Byfeld pulls away. So Vigaju playing that team game, maybe on purpose, maybe not. But look at the train of cars. They're flashing lights actually at each other as you come down the back straight in towards the braking zone. So with the 199 of Samuel Lindelof on that outside, Vigju's going to hold on to that one, and now it's Bohlin trying to make his way around the outside. Oh no, as he's gone over the chicane, he's made an absolute meal of that as Lindelof, and he's going to lose about 5 or 6 places.
Oh, and there's 3 white teammates here as they come towards the final corner. Lindelof slowly getting back underway again. Oh, straight off the circuit. Oh, and one of his teammates, Lindelof, shuts the door very hard there on one of the Hell Racers cars, I think, trying to come through from behind as well. It is all happening here. Another 3 wide moment. 4 wide nearly. This cannot end well. Oh, contact. There it is. They're all going to be involved in it. And there you have it. At least one goes around. That was 4 wide, and it's never going to work. It's too narrow over the top there.
I think that was Lindbergh, the 741 machine, was the one spinning around, but as you say, 4 wide through turns 2 and 3. No chance, unfortunately, at this track. That's the widest part of the track, and then it goes basically down to 1 lane at turn 3, so it's never ever going to work in a million years. Big set up the inside here through turn 7. That is going to be Byfeld trying to get the run. He's got Bernsen, and then his championship rival Tobias Olsen, the car in front here, as the 2 teams are trying to work together, but Byfeld needs to do something to try and take some points of Olsen. He's lost points to Olsen every single race so far. He's always 3 wide in towards the braking zone. Olsen's the car in front. Byfeld around the outside. Bernsen trying to make that stick. He's done so actually. He's got through, and he should be able to hold on to that one. That's let Olsen get away a little bit, but let's see if Byfeld can chase him down.
Yeah, Byfeld's got to keep him very close in check here because we're not even 5 minutes through here, but Olsen's already in the top 5. Byfeld can't afford to let him get away by defending too hard from Bernsen, although he can't afford to let Bernsen pass him either, so he's in a very difficult situation indeed. The one good thing, though, at the moment for Byfeld is the fact that Mikael Sundström is still in front. He's in amongst a lot of other ice-cold racing drivers. Nordstrom and Strand are there, just the 2 of them. Alexander Olsen still holding on quite nicely to the lead, but Sundström can play a big hand at the moment in Marcus Byfeld's race if he defends as hard as he probably should, really, for the sake of his teammate in a few moments.
404, Linus Hellberg gets black flagged already after a couple of laps. Just showing you how difficult it is when you're not inside the top 10 like these boys we are watching on the screen. So this is Olsen and Nordstrom. They are leading the way. They've got a tiny gap behind to Sundström for nearly on pace, who's trying to hold up the likes of Strand and Tobias Olsen. Tobias Olsen's pulled away from Byfeld, and he's got on the back of his teammate. So I'm not going to be surprised if Olsen is going to have a fairly easy move here. Yep, that was definitely not really defended by his teammate, Henrik.
Oh no,
Sundström. Well.
Sundström straight off the circuit. All of what I just mentioned there, you can forget about it because Mikael Sundström has just gone straight off the circuit. And that's exactly what I was talking about earlier on about Byfeld's teammates just not as strong as Tobias Olsen's. The fact that they're not as numerous as well is not helping, because you know the effect of a Sundström mistake there is a lot more pronounced than it would be for example, Tom Nordstrom to make a mistake right now. You'd almost not notice because there's so many of the ice cold drivers up towards the front, but when a nearly on pace driver goes off, you really notice, and Byfeld really notices as well. It's another race with no teammate help effectively.
But he's done that before. To be honest, when he was at Street Trends winning, you know, the championships before, he didn't really have much help either. It's just the fact that he's now up against this big team of Ice Cold Racing, and they have not only the numbers, but the numbers of fast drivers, which is the important factor as well at this, this point in the championship, where you want to get the points early on, get the points on the board, have yourself sorted by the time you get to half season. Byfeld is fighting an uphill battle at this point, that is for sure. As we continue the race on, there's a lot of blue machines out there. Let's see a replay. This is going to be Frisk at the start in the pink machine. We've already got cars off in the background. I think that's Simon Green. And we're going to be going almost 4 wide in towards the first corner. Everyone's pretty nice actually at that point, but it's just the tiniest bit of contact, unfortunately. And that was all it took, the 25 machine to go around. I think it was Klambeck was the one making that contact. Driver's already going off there, Ewan, before the start.
Yeah, before the start line. I mean, unbelievable, isn't it, really? It's, oh dear, on the front straight, bigger than I thought, actually. Down the back, there's teammates as well. Dear, oh dear. Contact in toward turn 1. That contact, by the way, for a car to end up on the inside was not dissimilar to what we saw in race number 1. So it's just one of those things, I think, around this circuit, really, as we continue through our lap 1 replays here and the trouble that went on down the hill towards the S's.
Live pictures, someone had a big spin coming through the S's. That's a hard hit for Klambeck as well. So much action going on. I think as Hampus Baz had a big moment coming through the S's. He's dropped down. He's now in 17th place. But let's see, this is coming through turn 6 and 7. And there's going to be a bit of a lock-up up ahead. He's going a bit wide onto the cross. God, these cars, they're so sensitive. Now, rolling back in front of 2 cars. That is not what you want to see. I know he's trying to save his own race, but he destroyed 2 in the process almost.
One of them, I think, teammates, which is even less ideal. Makes for an awkward conversation if they're having a chat at the moment. This is the final chicane. It's a little bit of grass and gravel. Driver on the outside not quite realising there was still somebody in the inside there, and spin to the outside of the circuit. And then there was a spin over the top of the hill here. I wonder whether this is related to that. Well,
car park.
Yeah, it basically is, isn't it? This is all the bottom of the hill. There we go. That was just at the top of your picture there. A couple of cars clipping each other just under the bridge, and then they were in a very dangerous position there as they're sort of unsighted, really. Everybody unsighted from them coming over the top there.
Yeah, that was 66 of Philip Hahn was the initial spin, but so many pieces of collateral damage as we see Vedestad here getting sent to the inside. Big hit there from the 110 as they make contact, and the rejoin again, taking out another couple of drivers. That's so unfortunate. Thomas Kinnell, the 14 car, that was the one to the right-hand side of the picture. Really not ideal at all. As a 49 here, this is Kenneth Tier, your race sponsor today, sliding it. So there definitely isn't a lot of grip out there, Ewan.
No, definitely not, as Tobias Olsen takes the lead from Alexander Olsen. It's like a replay of Watkins Glen, isn't it? Inside 10 minutes, he already leads again with his closest rival, Marcus Byfeld, down in 4th position. This is a definite pattern emerging through the first 4 races of the season.
Oh, for sure. And, we just had, a minute or 2 there of replays, and he went from about 5th to 1st place. So he's got past Berntsson, he's got past Nor, he's got past Olsen as well. And 2 of those were not teammates. So Byfeld now needs to try and follow him through. And really the best that Byfeld can try and do is 2nd place, because surely by the time he gets up into 2nd, because we assume he probably will be over the course of the next 20 minutes, he then needs to obviously close down the gap that Olsen is going to be making up during that process. So if it's 4 from 4 for Olsen, then that's going to be a big margin for Byfeld to try and overcome. Let's see the replay. This is fairly simple. Round the outside of turn 9. Therefore, you have the inside at the chicane of turn 10A, 10B. And let's see now Byfeld's opportunity down the same straight.
And he will get through at least. Surprisingly, somewhat, being given the slipstream by Alexander Olsen. Tom Nordstrom's going to make this as hard as possible for Byfeld, just as he didn't to his teammate, as you'd expect. And Nordstrom's still going to come back down the inside, and this is where it gets difficult. Oh, there's a kamikaze dive down the inside, and now Byfeld is very close to being in the grass, and this is really dangerous. Oscar Berntsson coming up here could compound his problems.
Yeah, what team play there by Nordstrom, really slowing down Byfeld's progress. Even if he gets past at some point, he's going to lose at least half a second here, if not a second over the course of this battle. He's trying to do the up and under, get the run up through turn 2, and then this will be the outside for turn 3. This will be a move if he can try and make this stick. He's got his nose down the inside. It's still side by side. We come down turn 4 in towards the S's. What a move this could be by Marcus Byfeld if he completes this, and he certainly does. He had to get his elbows out. He knows he's racing the teammates of his championship rival, and he managed to finally get through.
Yeah, it's a great overtake with great skill and great entertainment as well, but it's so bad for his race that he has to go through this every time. Tobias Olsen just doesn't have to do this when he's passing guys, so especially not the ice cold racing guys, obviously. So this is why the gaps created are so large. I would really like at some point this season to see a straight fight between Olsen and Byfeld, actually, when there's no teammates anywhere around. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, to be honest, over the course of the 12 races, but I think it'd be a great battle to watch, because I think they are quite evenly matched. But when Olsen can get steps ahead, making overtakes very easily, while Byfeld has to cost himself 2 seconds doing it every time, there's only going to be one winner.
Well, motorsport is a team game, that is for sure. As much as the individuals win, the teams put the cars out on the track, the teams do the preparation. And of course, the teams can have other drivers out on the circuit, and that is such a big part of it compared to just the single driver there. So Olsen certainly put himself in a great position with this team and his teammates, and what a job they're doing. So Byfeld's up into 3rd, but actually lost time in the course of that. So he's 3.7 seconds behind. He's still got Olsen to get through, Alexander Olsen that is, to get through if he wants to chase down, as that is very wide there from Nordstrom, and needs to be careful because his teammate Birdson now is going to be getting past the teammates, keeping it nice and safe coming down towards turn 6. But certainly for Byfeld, this is going to be a long way for him. Here's Hampus Baz. We saw him go off for turn 4, and already a little bit of contact with some of the ice cold cars. I think this is actually the battle that we're looking at with Nordstrom, etc. Bernson, and now up towards, just a little bit of contact there coming through the S's, and he goes for a spin, and he actually regains that very nicely, rejoining the track at turn 5.
Yeah, it's a nice recovery, but he would have rather not have the spin in the first place. It's very difficult when you're in these big groups of ice cold racing drivers and you're sort of fighting alone there to fight against them. It's a bit of an onslaught, but they get away with it, and Baz gets back onto the circuit without too much trouble. Still so far, by the way, 48 cars on the lead lap. Jörg Frisch not that far from going one lap down from Tobias Olsen, who is at the front of the field. So far, though, 9 retirements from this race. Some very, very long repairs happening down on the pit lane. Again, to reiterate, no fast repairs, and that is very much keeping the numbers or the attrition rate a little bit high, but that's to be expected with so many cars on a tight circuit like this.
Indeed, it's a very old school circuit, and it hasn't really been impacted too much by the modern safety standards and everything like that. It's really kept the heritage like most of the North American tracks, to be honest. And of course, we focus a little bit further down as well. Come the Sim Race Sweden boys trying to have a battle. I think Sundström in the middle there as he tries to hold on, as it has a slow exit actually, as he work our way down the hill. That should be a move up the inside, and easily done on the brakes as well, just showing you, and very easily, just one little mistake. So that was actually Lindhoff getting past Norberg. It's Holmer just ahead.
Yeah, another driver you'd expect to be going well, Daniel Holmer.
Yeah, he's a bit quiet, isn't he? We haven't really spoken about him too much.
Yeah, a little bit, which is a shame. I think we'll maybe see him a little bit more lively in the Oval Series, to be honest, this season. But we'll wait and see on that, of course. The alternate weeks that we have in this series nowadays. The next gen car being used for the ovals in the meantime, as there's a run down the other side of the hill here for Norberg. Can't quite get down the inside and through on this occasion. It's hot going at the moment for Henrik Lindhoff, I think. I was expecting him to be further up than 18th, if I'm honest.
as well as Oliver Bohlin, who had the issue in race 1, qualified in P6, had the issue in the first race, and then dropped further back. And actually behind him, there's Stralberg having further issues in his race, just getting a little bit of a nudge, going out wide. And unfortunately, he's battling a little bit low down with some people they probably didn't want to be with. But Oliver Bohlin, he has got up 35 places in this race, just showing you how bad his first race was. But unfortunately, he's still in 21st. Imagine that, getting up 35 positions in class, and there's still 20 guys ahead of you.
Yeah, it's the thing with this field, isn't it? It's just absolutely massive field, and it doesn't seem to be relenting either in terms of how many turn up. I think, did we have the full 60 last time? I think we did have the full 60 at Watkins Glen. But yeah, we were told that more than 60 signed up for the series. It's astonishing, really. But great job from Bohlin to have made up so many places. Fair play to him. No matter how many there are on the field, that's still very difficult to do.
Exactly, as there's Lindhoff getting past Holmer, his teammate. They've got Oscar Moten, the 94, their other teammate, just up ahead. So Sim Race Sweden's definitely with a lot of cars out there. They just don't have the speed. Do you remember back to the IndyCar series a year ago? They had a lot of drivers towards the front there, battling the nearly on pace runners at the time with Forsland. For instance, Lindhoff, Forsland, of course, winning the title in the end, but not quite able to challenge the ice cold team so far. As we are over half race distance in this feature race now, we are seeing Byfeld back towards the front. He has caught 1 second though to the leader. He was 3.7 at one point, he's now 2.7. So that battle is not over by any means at the front, as these drivers in behind are trying to secure the best results that they can in their championship.
Yeah, exactly. It's 1 point per position all the way through, which helps with the mathematics as well, which is good for us, and indeed the drivers, I suppose, as well, figuring out what they need throughout the race. But so the gap between first and second in points is 5, and at the moment Tobias Olsen is taking all of those, as Christopher Geros hopes to get a good enough run to make this pass on Tony Uvinen down in towards turn 10A and B. Wonder whether he will indeed have that as he gets into the slipstream hit, and surely he's going to have a go on the inside line. He's close enough anyway, and he doesn't make any mistake, easily down the inside and through.
Yeah, lovely move there from the 36. And to reiterate the point system that you're talking about, so it's 50 points for a win, 45 for second place, and then 44, 43, etc. So this is why it's very important for Byfeld to at some point finish ahead of Olsen, because as much as he's finished 1 place behind Olsen in every race, that's actually ended up being 15 points. Whereas obviously if it's for like 9th and 10th place, that's going to be 3 points. So that is why that extra few bonus points, let's say, for getting the win is very important. Of course, there's points for pole position, points for fastest lap as well. So those are very important. Also 5 points for a 0x race, although to be honest with you, and I doubt there's going to be many races over the course of the year, 60 drivers times 16 races. Whatever that number is, I don't think many of those are going to be with 0x as Vettelstad goes off.
No, I would certainly not sponsor Vettelstad either, but no, I would very highly doubt that there will be too many. I think there might be circuits later as Byfeld moves up to second here fairly comfortably, just inside 20 minutes of this race. But yeah, I think it's going to be pretty rare to see that. However, I was doing the calculations, obviously, from the first round of the championship and just seeing what would happen, how many points you'd gain if you had no incidents throughout all of the races. Obviously, again, I don't think anybody will be able to manage this, but that is 60 points available if you get no incidents in every race this season, and that's more than the value of 1 race win. So it is worth going at if you possibly can stay out of trouble enough to get no incident points. But as I say, really hard to actually do in reality, because in the end it's not actually really up to you. It somewhat depends whether you get crashed into as well.
Yeah, and I think if you're being that cautious, you'll probably lose more positions compared to what you're going to gain as well, and then you're going to get involved in other incidents that you probably wouldn't have been involved in. So definitely an interesting one. As we come back to nearly on pace, we've got Sunster and Vigashu. They're chasing out Edwin Forsland. So Forsland, who's actually had a bit of a resurgence in this race, is up into P7. He's looking very strong. Your champion from 1 year ago in the IndyCar series, trying to continue on is good form in this road course series. Of course, he's struggled a little bit with the results so far this season, but let's see what he can do, as he's currently in that in 7th place so far. He actually really did struggle in the first round of the season, so he's got a lot of points to try and come back from.
Yeah, and so I think, you know, for Sundström and Oliver Hagström, Vigazoo, 2 top 10s would be solid tonight. I mean, they didn't manage that at Watkins Glen, for example. Oliver Hagström, Vigazoo was just inside the top 10 both times, but Sundström was just on the outside looking in. I think he finished like 13th and 14th or something like that. Quite high in the teens, but he's in the top 10 twice this time round, which would be very good news indeed for him. And solid again, but Byfeld is really going to need their assistance this season if he's going to overhaul Tobias Olsen, and at the moment it's just not looking like that is really possible for Nearly On Pace. Those two drivers don't quite look up to it at the moment.
And also with how the team's championship works, because iScar Racing, obviously we've seen loads of cars out there, but they have various different sub-teams with certain sponsors, because you can't just have like 15 drivers in one team. After the first round, it's actually Nearly On Pace who have the lead in the team's championship, which is very interesting. Tobias Olsen not able to carry everything so far. As we get to 9 minutes to go, as we're seeing some side-by-side battles. That is very interesting. Dan Holmer continuing his battle. He's been up there fighting for some positions. He had to let his teammate go a little bit earlier, and unfortunately I think that's Norberg 188 who just slid past for P15.
Yeah, it's unfortunate really, isn't it? As we were saying earlier, Daniel Holmer's been pretty quiet this season so far, and he's now got an opportunity to get back to 15th. That was pretty dangerous, coming back onto the circuit, back onto the racing line, quite like that. And in the end, they'll get away with it. But I think there was contact, because Norberg just got a black flag at the top of his screen and must have reached the incident limit in that case, because we do have an incident limit for a drive-through anyway of just 17 incident points. And a couple have been reaching that in these last few moments.
And he's still going to battle this, it looks like, despite having that black flag. So it's not ideal. As Bohlin and Lindberg in the background, they have a bit of a battle. I think Bohlin was making that move for P19 in the white and red car that you'll see at the back end of the shop for Polski Logistics. And onto the back straight we go. 8 minutes remain in this race. Is this battle done? I don't think so. Norberg is going to be getting the run. He's going to be getting the slipstream as he work away through turn 9. He goes to the left-hand side of the track. He has a huge run. He's already side by side way before we get to the braking zone. He may have a black flag under his name, but he is trying to squeeze his way through. He gets past Dan Holmer. That was an aggressive move, but he gets it done. Oh, big slide on the exit as well. God, he is pushing to try and make up for that penalty.
It's pushing very hard indeed, but you've got to be careful with your rear tyres if you're going to do that to them out of the chicane every time. As I mentioned, the weather conditions are a lot warmer than what it was in race 1, although it is declining throughout the race. 42 degrees Celsius still on the racetrack is pretty high if you're going to act like that with those tyres. So you do have to be a little bit wary of that. But this is the biggest group in the field for 15th position. Norberg on the and that unenviable position really of having 5 queued up right behind him.
And that is one of those things where you just spend all your time looking in the mirror because it's just full of cars, and your relative screen is flashing at you as well, with everyone moving around, getting closer to you. What a train of cars we have here, though, in this midfield. And for those drivers who are at least thinking about something for the championship, these could be some crucial points. If you have the goal of maybe just getting inside the top 20 or whatever in the championship, these are important points, and you never know. 3-4 places here, that's 3-4 points, could be very, very important when we get to the end of the season. As if you think about it, we get to the final race, if you're 4 points behind someone, that's 4 positions you need to gain. As we're seeing a little bit of ascend down the inside here as Baz tries to make the move around the outside. It is going to be on Oscar Motim, gets it done. And now we're going to see Oliver Bohlin dive it down the inside through turn 11 into the final corner at T12, gets it done as well. So unfortunately, Motin losing 2 places, and with that momentum lost, Lindberg is going to be going up the inside. There's lap cars on his inside, so unfortunately Motin has to back out that one, but actually Lindberg has had to slow down as the lap car gets in his way a little bit, I think, at least distracts him in turn 1. He keeps on the outside for turn 3, but eventually has to back out of that.
That was all a bit of a mess through the final part of the lap there and into the next one. Bohlin, though, has made up so many positions in this race so far, and it is still going. It is commendable, really, the amount of positions he's gained so far in this one. Very, very good job indeed from Oliver Bohlin so far. Didn't have very good Watkins Glen either, by the looks of the results, so be very pleased to at least be working his way through the field, although of course it's still not going to be a top 10 as you mentioned earlier. Imagine making up nearly 40 places and still not even being in the top 10 yet. It's a remarkably big field. You just got to recalibrate to it, really.
Yeah, that is quite something, to be honest. But it's awesome, though. That's awesome for the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan to see so many drivers signing up to this Porsche Cup Series. It was always going to be a popular one with how important, really, this car has been for iRacing in the last 5 or so years. That really does make sense that so many drivers are coming up to this. We're inside the final 5 minutes now. Tobias Olsen still leads by 3 seconds to Byfeld. So Byfeld has got Alexander Olsen a couple laps ago, and it's already pulled away by over 3 seconds. And the cars in behind are fairly stable from where they have been in the previous 5 minutes. But it's the battles in behind that we are focusing on as we're getting towards the end of round 4 of the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan. This is of course, the road course series, the cancer awareness race by Kenneth Tier.
Should probably update on where Kenneth Tier is, actually, because he's still in the race. He's just gone a lap down, actually, to Tobias Olsen at the front of the field. He's currently down in 39th position, the first driver 1 lap down, which would matter. It matters on our other alternate weeks in the ovals, but not necessarily here for this road series this season, as this group continues to be particularly wild. Gabriel Norberg still at the front of it. Hampus Baz, though, gets in front of Daniel Holmer, who is immediately tucked right in behind and going to be having another look to go back through.
And this is such good fun to see these guys battling with everything they've got side by side into the braking zone. Holmer way later on the brakes, gains about a car length, but then can't quite get it stopped as he would have wanted. So Baz goes all the way around the outside for Hell Racers and is going to holding on to that position. So they've let, unfortunately, Norberg get through a little bit ahead, but what a battle that is. And in the background, again, Oliver Bohlin still trying to get through and hold on with his battle as well. Side by side, we go in towards the first corner, but unfortunately, I think it's Motin not able to find a way through. Actually, sorry, that's a lap car that he was racing, as Motin's just a little bit further back.
Yeah, there's so many cars laps down, as I mentioned earlier on. We saw it in the first race, 38 on the lead lap now, with Kenneth Tier going a lap down, but admittedly most of those who have gone laps down have retired from the race and pulled aside completely in this race, as Christopher Gerrels gets ahead and stays ahead of Robert Eriksson this time round, and the other driver in this group not on their lap. So as case in point, it's very complicated when there's so many laps down, and it's a bit of a difficult circuit really to stay out the way if you're a lap car. If you're one of those people at the moment, you'd be feeling like you're constantly pulling over, really.
Yeah, unbelievably difficult circuit, to be honest. As here is Jonas Gunnarsson, who, to be honest, has been a little bit underwhelming in this category so far. Very fast, always up towards the front of the Oval Series. Was fairly decent in the GT3s as well a few months ago, but now sliding up the inside, trying to get P29. Does number 33 way later on the brakes into T7. Gets that move. That's Marcus Stiller for Clutch Cup Racers, and he's got the move done. Was it too early though, as Stiller will get the slipstream back down this straight.
It's a big overtaking chance to be seen so many occasions here so far tonight, and we'll see it one more time before the finish as Marcus Stiller takes on what I think will be his best race result of the season, even if he gets P.O. Goodison or not, and the answer is not this time anyway, in towards the final chicane.
Certainly, we've got a minute and a half remaining. So looking at where the leader is, we probably will have another lap. Let's see exactly when he gets around. And this is certainly going to be the final couple of opportunities. Actually, up towards the line. No, he's actually just a little bit inside. So this probably is going to be the final lap. He got there by a couple of seconds, did Tobias Olsen. And we are going to be on to the final lap. Look at the amount of cars up ahead, though. This is really difficult. He's got Byfeld. He's going to be chasing him down. He's got his teammate going off. This could get very, very messy if this ends up going the wrong way and Marcus Byfeld gets a run. That's not good, what you're going to be wanting to see. But actually, Byfeld's got 4 cars to get through in the 2-second gap.
Yeah, it's not a big gap, but there's so many. Oh, look at that. Byfeld has to come to almost a complete stop out of turn 5 there as he gets caught up with those guys. I mean, they're in a battle of their own, to be fair, the guys who are laps down, so you can understand why they're not necessarily focusing on those behind us, maybe they should be, but even so, Byfeld's going to be frustrated. That gap almost doubles in this final lap.
And of course, on the relative, it shows you, about the lap, etc. It hasn't come up with the final lap just yet, as we have this seconds to go. So Olsen, he's been so dominant over the course of the start of this season. He's won the first 2 races at Watkins Glen. He comes to Road Atlanta. He gets it done in round 3. And as round 4 comes to a conclusion, it is going to be Tobias Olsen, 4 from 4 to start the season. And what a dominant style as well, with Marcus Byfeldt finishing second in all the 4 races. Both of those two are the cream of the crop today. But unfortunately for Byfeldt, it is second again. Olsen will have a wonderful third place after reverse grid pole, and there's going to be some great battles in behind as we get towards the final overtaking opportunities in towards turns 10A and 10B. The 72 of Oliver Wallen trying to make a move on Dan Holmer, not quite close enough this time around, unless he gets the run out of turn 11 in towards turn 12. Can there be a send from Oliver Wallen? He's going to try and keep his nose up the inside. Not quite enough. It's a short run to the line, and Holmer will hold on.
It's not an ideal run to the line, is it, if you're trying to make a pass there through the final corner at Road Atlanta? It really is one line, and if you get side by side, then it's only going to end in a crash anyway, so thankfully they sorted things out there just before the finish, but a good finish between the two of them anyway. And as you say, a word on Alexander Olsen, because that was a great drive from him. It's very easy when you are the pole sitter in the reverse grid race to absolutely plummet through the field and really let all of them through, either by design or not, but he held his own very respectably there, and that's by far his best result of the season so far. No top 10s last week, 2 of them this week, 1 of them on the podium.
Yeah, very good indeed. Evan Forsland as well up into P7 from having a difficult race 1 as well. But this guy, the 091, 4 from 4, and hopefully we'll get to speak to him in a couple of moments' time as well. He surely will be ecstatic with that one, because if there's one thing Olsen likes doing, it is winning, and he's got 4 of them so far this season. So after 23 laps of action, it was Olsen and Byfeldt, a very familiar sight so far this season. Olsen and Bernstein are inside your top 4 with Nordstrom, Strand, Forsland, Sundström, Vigju and Skagston are your top 10. And Forsland, actually, he got the fastest lap there on 23, the final lap. So definitely some speed in that 27 car, just was way too far back to do anything for the podium places. We've got Sindel, Helm, Engstrom, Lindhoff in the end in P14. Difficult day for him. Norberg, Baz, Holmer, Wallin, Motin and Limburg, your top 20. Lindelof ended up in P21 after running off the track with a shot. Giros, Eriksson, Strahlberg, Johansson, Coulson, Edmund, Gunnarsson in P29 got stiller, as we saw there towards the end of the race. Philip Hahn, he had issues in both races. He ends up in P31. Vedestad, Uvenen, Gren, Finoli, Dahlstrom, Forsberg, Green and Kenneth Tier, our sponsor for tonight, in P39. A big shout out to him. Then Leuven as well. Frisk, Olsen, Pfeffer, Brostrom, Canal, Pinnix, Loden, Norgren, Holmbaum and Bjorn, your top 15. But of course, some of these drivers, many laps down. Of course, this final page is all DNFs, unfortunately for those drivers, with Headland, the first of them, all the way back at the start of the race. And now we do have a couple of drivers to speak to, so let's bring in your race winner from rounds 3 and round 4, Tobias. This is turning into a familiar affair. Your speed has been so good at the start of the season. How does it feel to win both races again tonight?
It feels pretty good, actually. I did a bad quali again, just not sure what I was doing, but yeah, I had the pace for pole, but just couldn't get it together for some reason. And then, yeah, race 1 was... I had some 2 accidents I'm not proud of. One with my teammate was like miscommunication, just so we will talk about it after. But at least I got 2 victories, so it feels good.
Yeah, absolutely. At least on track, yeah, there may be a penalty here or there. We'll see how that one goes.
Yeah.
But we'll focus on that, on the good stuff for now, because your pace today was absolutely amazing, to be honest. And especially, in that first race, you made some really strong, aggressive moves. Was that just because you had the pace on the drivers around you, or is that just your driving style and the feel and the confidence you have in this car?
Yeah, I think my pace was good. I can say. And I did a really nice move for the leader with a nice cutback in the last chicane. And in the second race, I was just overtaking and get to the lead and try to keep Marcus behind me. But I knew that I was a little bit quicker and trying to take care of my rear tires because I'm quite heavy on them around here. So I was driving a bit slower in the feature race, but still managed to win, so it feels nice.
Yeah, it's a good thing you mentioned the tires, actually, because I wanted to ask you, how is this car over, especially the longer feature race? Is there anything you have to do driving style wise in terms of keeping the car in check towards the end?
Yeah, I would say not. You want to have the brake bias to the rear on this track, and when a race is 30 minutes, I think, so I try to keep it a bit more forward. We created some understeer, but at least I had tires on the end so I could push in the traffic, the lap car. So feels good. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we go to Eracingligan next time. Of course, a fairly new track to iRacing. What do you know of that track, and how do you think it's going to work with this car?
I think I'd driven the Porsche around there in the Swedish championship a few years ago. I think the qualifying will be more important there, I would say. You can overtake down in the kink in the first sector there. You can send it on the inside if you want. So overtaking is possible, but quality will be key, I think.
Absolutely. So there's something for you to practice next time after, you won the race, but didn't get pole today. So maybe that's the target for next time. So yeah, congratulations, and we'll probably speak to you in a couple of weeks' time. Well done.
Yeah, thanks for tonight.
And then we will bring in the reverse grid pole winner, Alexander Olsen, of course, finishing P10 in that first race. And then that gave him the pole position and managed in the end to finish third, which, to be honest, is a very good job considering Olsen and Byfeld, the fastest two in the championship at the moment, the only two drivers to get ahead of you. So, Alexander, firstly, take us back to the start of the feature race from pole position. Just how were you feeling on the grid there and having everyone lining up behind you?
Yeah, I was super stressed because I didn't feel like I had a pace that Tobias and Marcus had, so I was just waiting for them to trying to follow them.
Absolutely, but you did have the pace to hold on. I mean, Berntsen and Nordstrom, etc., in behind you, they never really challenged you that much. So once the race settled down, did you really have the confidence, or were you just still looking in your mirrors, scared of the ones behind?
Nah, I was watching the mirrors until Tobias and Marcus went by. So, yeah, I was really weak in the last corner.
And in this car, I mean, you managed to get P10 in that first race, which obviously includes the qualifying. So how are you feeling with that? Do you think you can challenge more so in the top 10 for the rest of the season?
Hope so. I thought it was gonna rain a bit more today. That's why I'm not fast in the dry. So yeah, I hope to get more practice done in the dry.
Absolutely, it's going to be a good season. So hopefully we speak to you again. Congratulations, and yeah, at least another podium tonight. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. And unfortunately, Marcus not joining us in the interview room. So that concludes the interviews for tonight's cancer awareness race at Road Atlanta round 3 and 4 of the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan. And that was a whole load of fun to see the cars going around there. A little bit of chaos. So I'm sure the stewards will be getting involved as well. But here we are, Eracingligan, the Motor Centre, in a couple of weeks' time. Of course, fairly new track, a couple of years ago, being added to iRacing. over in Norway. It's going to be a whole load of fun as we go to rounds 5 and 6 of the season. Remember, we go back to the Oval Series next week as well, where we go to Chicagoland in the next gen NASCARs. That's going to be a whole load of fun for the Mobility 350. So let's see you next week. But for now, it's been myself, Cameron Roger, Ewan O'Leary alongside me, and Hugo Louise on the production of this RaceSpotTV broadcast. And until a couple of weeks' time in Norway, we'll see you then. Goodbye.